Welcome to the third video in the forensic psychology topic. This video is about psychological explanations of crime, specifically cognitive explanations. Cognitive psychology explains behaviour through our thinking and thought processes, and then that in turn affects how we behave. So the cognitive explanation of crime would be that the way that a criminal thinks or processes information is causing that behaviour. A psychologist called Kohlberg theorised that we develop morality in stages through experiencing our society or culture. I do have a much longer video on Kohlberg if you're interested and you want to go through the stage theories in a bit more detail before we go into class. So his stage theory, there are 6 stages and you develop from stage 1 to stage 6 in your moral development. He suggested that the higher you get in the moral development, i.e. stage 5 and 6, the more sophisticated the reasoning. If you've ever looked at the Heinz moral dilemma, this relates to that. So the Heinz moral dilemma was Heinz's wife is sick. There's a chemist in town who has developed a drug to help her, to stop her from being sick. If she doesn't take the drug, she's going to die. The chemist is making a lot of money on this drug. It doesn't cost him much to manufacture, but he's charging the people a lot more money than it's costing him. Heinz can't afford it. He raises half of the money that he needs to pay for the drug, but the chemist says no. The chemist says no, I want the full money. So Heinz debates whether to break into the chemist's shop and steal the drug. And then, so the Heinz moral dilemma is, should he do it? Why should he do it? Why should he not do it? What if the person was a stranger? Would that make any difference? And the way that you answer that question indicates what stage of moral development you're in. Kohlberg in 1973 suggests that criminals haven't developed morals properly and therefore would be at stage 1 or 2 in the moral development, and then that obviously impacts on their behaviour. Criminal offenders are more likely to be classified at stage 1 and 2, which is the pre-conventional level, whereas non-criminals tend to have developed further down in the stages. The pre-conventional level is characterised by a need to avoid punishment and gain rewards. So the criminal would be thinking, oh, if I get away with this crime, I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to steal this car, I'm going to sell this car, I'm going to make 40 grand. They might reason that if they commit the crime and then get away with it, that they'll be rewarded by the money that they get, or the fact that they've gotten away with it, the police haven't caught them. Another cognitive explanation of criminal behaviour would be cognitive distortions. Now, cognitive distortions are errors or biasing in people's processing, which is characterised by faulty thinking. So if you think back to doing psychopathology and think about CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, as a treatment, somebody who has anxiety might have some faulty thought processes that CBT tries to fix. This is exactly the same idea but applied to criminal behaviour. The first cognitive distortion is called hostile attribution bias. This is where violent behaviour is associated with a tendency to misinterpret the actions of other people. So if you've ever been out in a pub or in a bar and you've accidentally bumped into somebody, spilt your drink on them, and then they've reacted really aggressively, or you've been out and you've looked at somebody and then they've just been like, and what? And like squaring up to you and you're just like, what did I do? That would be hostile attribution bias. People with this tend to misread cues that they're getting from other people, and they tend to see them as being more aggressive than they're actually intending to be. There were 2 psychologists who looked at this in 2014. I will put the name up in the video, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Schoenberg presented 55 offenders with images of emotionally ambiguous faces. Violent offenders were more likely to interpret those faces as being violent or hostile. Another cognitive explanation or another cognitive bias to explain crime would be minimization. And this is an attempt to deny or downplay the seriousness of an offence. Many of them use euphemisms to describe the offence. Instead of saying I'm going to commit a murder, it would be I'm going to go and commit a job. Bandura in 1973 thought of this theory, and it helps that cognitive dissonance with doing something bad and sort of justifying it to themselves. There are some studies that suggest individuals who commit sexual offences are particularly prone to this. Barbary in 1991 found of 26 incarcerated rapists, so that's rapists who have been caught and are in prison, 54% of them denied committing a crime and 40% minimised the harm caused. So if you imagine somebody who's committed a sexual offence and then they use the excuse, oh, they were asking for it, oh, they were wearing this, therefore they wanted this, that would be classed as minimalisation. Pollock and Hashmall, also in 1991, reported that 35% of child molesters argued that they were just being affectionate and that it wasn't sexual, which makes me feel a little bit sick. And 36% said the victim consented. So they're using these cognitive biases that they have to almost try and make the crime acceptable to them. Obviously not acceptable to anybody else. So thank you for watching my video on the psychological explanations of crime, cognitive. Next up is psychodynamic explanations of crime. Thanks.